What's up, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Sports Depth Podcast as we get closer and closer and closer to Friday's 3 p.m. trade deadline. That's tomorrow, so big day coming up in the NHL. There's already some moves that have been made. Last night or in the afternoon, Colton Parayko ends up getting moved for a first-round pick and defenseman that the Sabres drafted 9th overall last year. I mean, that's a big-time price to pay for Colton Parayko, but big physical presence on the blue line, Stanley Cup champ. Mackenzie Weegar moved last night to the Utah Mammoth as well. I think there's like 3 second-round picks involved in that deal or something like that. Jason Oli Mata is fun fact. Oli Mata is still playing in the NHL. Who would have knew? Who would have known?
I used to love when McGuire used to join you guys when you were on with Gallo and of course Melnick, and the way he used to say Oli Mata. Loved it.
Oli Mata, yeah. Pierre's good on the Finnish pronunciation. He was very, very good.
In perfect Finnish, he used to say it. I loved it.
Yes, he did. And so that move went down. I saw Jason Dickinson went from Chicago to Edmonton, and there's Colt. What's his Colby Doc? Is it? Colton Doc. Anyway, it starts with a C. I forget it. I always blank on his name. Mm-hmm. But Doc is going, not Kirby, but Colton is going the other way. And there's a first-round pick in 2027 going. That's when you know you're maxing out the credit cards, Tsalikis, is when you start trading first-round picks in 2027. And personally, I find it's an overpay. Yeah. In my opinion, you're giving up a first for those two guys, but it's, you're just punting the problem down the road. That's just what it is. I mean, talking about a guy, I know he brings a lot to the table. He's a good player, Dickinson. But
they're trying, Joe.
I know, Simon. I get it. They're trying, but you're talking about a guy who has 13 points this year, 47 games, and I know he brings an element to the game. He's a big body, but he's a smart player. He brings a certain element that they need, some good depth there. And then, I find it's a little bit of an overpay. But, Michael McCarron went for a second. So I don't know that the big deals are necessarily how many more big deals are going to happen. It's Colton Doc, by the way. It's not Colby Doc. I always mixed them up. But it's Colton Doc.
Go back to the McCarron for a second. That went under the radar. That Michael McCarron, we know the history. We know where he was drafted. You know what round. You know what team. Forever we heard Pot coup de patin. And they're probably right. But, Joe, I was very surprised to see, I don't know if it was Mike Kelly or somebody else threw in the advanced analytics on him on Twitter. It's good, man. Good in the dot.
Good player.
Good in the dot in his own end. Decent penalty killer. Like a lot of things that, maybe that Minnesota Wild exactly needed. Look, we know how good their top players are. Their top players in Minnesota are elite. We saw them running a lot at the Olympics and playing on a high level. So I like that move for Minnesota.
They're a bit light down the middle. They're missing a little punch, and I would expect that they're probably going to at least try to do something else. Yeah. But I'm happy for Mike McCarron. Like I've obviously, whenever Canes play Nashville, whenever Nashville's on TV, you see Mike McCarron. But I'm looking at this is 3 full NHL seasons the last 3 years for McCarron. Like it took a while for McCarron, but these are 3 full NHLs. He's played 70, 74, and now 59 games so far this season. So he's turned into an NHL player. So good for him, because it didn't look that way. Yeah, it didn't look that way for a while.
So that was good.
Yeah, so good for him. Good for Michael McCarron. I'm happy for him. So we'll see. I want to, obviously, we're going to jump in and focus on the Montreal Canadiens. And just listening to a lot of the insiders today, like I was listening to TSN 690 a lot in the morning. Darren Dreger mentioned the possibility of Vincent Trocheck, or the Canadiens are exploring Vincent Trocheck. Pierre LeBrun did the same thing on the drive. So just reading and looking around and poking around. I know, we've talked at length about Nazem Kadri. I mean, this was like a couple months ago we were addressing it on the podcast. Like, what would you give? What would you not give? The one thing I'll say is I'm not a fan of standing pat, Simon. I know you're not either. But are you going to go get a player? Obviously it's going to depend on price. But are you going to go get a 35-year-old Nazem Kadri who's got 3 years left on his deal? Is that going to happen right now? Vincent Trocheck, the number's more digestible, but he's going to be 33 this summer. There's 3 years left on his deal, and the money, it's 5.65, I think. So it's not like the money's going to be super ridiculous, especially with the cap going up. But That's what the Canes are going to do. Like, Canes are going to go out there and get themselves like 32-year-olds and 35-year-olds to play down the middle. Good players, don't get me wrong, but are the Canadians there? Like, is that what they need? Is that what they want?
Listen, you know how I was all in on Kadri last year, but the drop off this year is a little bit much for me. You know, you went from a guy that scored, I think, in the mid-30s, low mid-30s, to now not being able to contribute at a high level. Now, how much of that, Joey, is I don't
They're
tune in
bad.
to watch. Yeah,
They're
I don't
bad.
tune in to watch the Flames. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how many times that they're getting opportunities to score here or be productive offensively. So that's, you know, I'm a little bit less so than it was last year. But again, now maybe the prices come down, because last year you're trading a center that's a dog with playoff experience and playoff pedigree and was a 30-something goal guy. Now you're not trading for that same guy. So maybe the price has come down a bit. The Trocheck fascinates me, Joey. Now, I don't know. I don't want to be overly critical because I don't think the guy's been terrible. But when you went and got Danault and you got him for another year, that kind of blocks a little bit of the Kadri move. That kind of blocks a little bit of the Trocheck move.
You find?
Well, Suzuki, Kapanen, Danault, Evans, Trocheck, you're gonna have these. How do you fit them all in next year? Now, maybe you could just move him to wing and make things a little bit easier. But Trocheck is a nice, is a nice fit. Decent numbers. But
he's performed in the playoffs too. I was looking. I pulled up his playoff. Now he has decent playoff numbers especially for an undersized guy.
Yeah, he look. Does he make you better? Yeah, but that too, again, Joe. It's always going to come down to what am I parting ways with. Now, if you bring Trocheck to this lineup, do you slide Danault down and move Evans to wing? Does Trocheck go automatically to wing? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think somebody might have to sit for one of those guys may have to sit. I don't think, Evans at the same time is lighting it up necessarily either. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that he's a guy that I would healthy scratch. But like the penalty kill isn't good, Simon. Penalty kill is no good.
That's the one saving grace that you can get yourself not pulled out of the lineup. If any one of those guys starts to be good on the penalty kill, I think it was 27th going into the Friday match against the Ducks. That's terrible. Now, if somebody can step up into that role, and maybe use that to cement themselves in the lineup, that would be interesting. I like Kadri a lot. I like him a lot less than I was willing to pay for last year. I like him more so than Trocheck, because I think if you're going to go optimal Trocheck and optimal Crosby, you might get 25.
Crosby?
Kadri, sorry. Yeah, you might get 25, maybe 30 if things go well for Kadri. So Trocheck's a nice player. I just don't know.
Trocheck, I think, could play not to say that I think Kadri's a pure centerman, whereas I think Trocheck could probably play any of the forward positions. I think right now, for the most part, he's been down the middle on that second line for the New York Rangers, and he's relatively productive. It's another undersized guy, but it's an offensive guy. I don't know. To me, it's just, again, I know it doesn't necessarily matter, but there's 3 years left on this deal, Simon. The number's digestible, but man, I don't know. I don't know what this deal is going to look like in 2-3 years, and maybe it doesn't even matter. But I don't know that Trocheck. I like Trocheck. I think he's a number 2 center. He's a second line player. Does it excite me to the point? Does it fill a need to the point that you go there and you put up with 3 years remaining on the deal? Now, if New York is going to eat half the deal, and you get him at 50% of $565 per year, whatever the quick math is on that. That's a different story. That's like a fourth liner in today's cap world. You know what I mean? That's a different thing. But I don't know. It's not that he's not a good player. It's not that I wouldn't take him on my team. I would. It's just that you're getting to guys that are early 30s, mid 30s that have term left on their deals, and it's like you already have older guys that it's time to maybe walk away from, especially up front.
You're a year away, right, from Danault and Gallagher and Anderson. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they're not part of the club going forward, but they all have 1 year left. I believe they'll have 1 year left on their deal. So if you allow these guys to walk, now you got to be careful here, because there's a lot of experience that's walking out of the locker room. But Nick Suzuki's he'll be on year 3 of his second contract. Cole Caulfield's on year 2 of his second contract. Like, they're not kids anymore. Slav could still be a kid, sure. Demidov's a kid, Kapanen's a kid. But Newhook has a cup, and he's been in the league for a while now. Evans, I think he's on his 3rd contract, whatever it is. So maybe they're looking at it that if you do get one of these older guys, we are 12 months away or 15 months away from Gallagher, Anderson, and Dano leaving the club. And then you're looking at, I don't know, if you add it all up, probably close to 3,000 games there or whatever, maybe 2,700 hockey games combined. So maybe that's what Ken Hughes is thinking, that if those guys walk, I can slide in these other guys in a little bit of that veteran leadership role.
Yeah, it just, to me, I don't know that you're like, I think Kapanen's fine. I know the line hasn't necessarily been the best. That second line hasn't been the greatest, and I don't think he's the one who's going to dictate that anyway. Like how good these lines are, like that particular line is. But I think Kapanen can hold his own. It's just I know the East is wide open, Simon. Like I hear that, and I even agree with that. My only thing is, you haven't necessarily defended well all year. You haven't killed penalties all year. Your goaltending hasn't been great all year. You know, you get to the playoffs, those are the type of things that sink you fast. And I'm not saying they're going to sink fast, but like, we think this is a team that's a Trocheck away from going like 3 rounds. Like that's what we're saying here. You know, I think there's other more pressing needs, and I don't know that any of them are going to get the Canadians to 3 rounds. They could stand pat and get to 3 rounds. They could. Yes. I'm looking at the body. I'm looking at the body of work, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, you know, if your stick gets tight, you know, late in a game in San Jose in March, well, there's a good chance that the same thing with this young group can happen in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just feel there's a lot of term left for, you know, the upside. Does he make you better? 1,000% he makes you better. It gives you a legit 2C. You know, I guess it's to your point. It depends what you're going to give, but you know, you also have some youth coming, and like getting 3 guys, you know, getting a guy for 3 more years after this year whose deal expires at 35, 36 years old. I don't know. It would really have to be worth it for me. And I'm admitting he's a good player. I'm not saying otherwise.
Yeah, I'm happy that you said that. Can this team go 3 rounds? This team can go 3 rounds the way it is. Now, the problem with them is they're not in the Metropolitan. If they're in the Metropolitan division, I'd be very comfortable saying that they can go 3 rounds because Habs, Carolina will be favored, but we're not talking, this ain't the Miracle on Ice Part 2 anymore here, right? This is not the Habs, whoever, Habs Islanders, Habs Penguins, come on. Their only issue, the 3-round issue, is because if things go well for them in the first round, if they're a Atlantic Division top 3 team, it's whoever is unlucky enough to get the Lightning in the second round. But I think the team right now, barring a second round matchup with Tampa Bay, but I could say that for like 5-6 teams in the Eastern Conference, it is completely wide open. And I'm wondering, just the slightest thing of adding a guy like Trocheck or adding a guy like Anderson, is that enough to tip a series? I don't know, but is it enough to make you a little bit more in the series? Maybe. It's Tampa Bay and everybody else, Joey. And what's crazy, and I disrespected the Buffalo Sabres, going into Thursday morning, they're 2 points behind the Lightning. The Lightning do have a couple of games in hand, but that's how competitive it is. And
Buffalo's on fire. That's why they're making these moves. They've been waiting all this time to go out there and be competitive. Now that they're competitive, Jarmo Kekalainen is going to pull the trigger. He's going to say, hey, we're good. I don't know if I'm going to be good next year. I think I'll be good, but I don't know.
Listen, I think his 1 through 5 is ridiculous. With
on defense?
The Parayko acquisition. See, like, they're a nightmare. Like, if you're a team that's like the Canadians, look at the Lightning, skilled forwards, this and that. The one thing that you're worried about is not the team that wants to outpace you and outscore you because you'll take your chances with them. It's a team that can lock it up defensively the way these guys can. I thought that was a great move. Might turn out to be an overpay depending on what that first-round pick, both those first-round picks turn out to be. But, I'm not saying that there's no I don't know what the secret sauce is here, but this is not, the Bruins of 120 points, even though they got bounced in the first round. It's not that Bruins team. This is not the Leafs of 110. This is not the Panthers of last year. Like, this is a wide open Eastern Conference, and the slightest of additions might be the difference.
Yeah, again, I think Trocheck's a good player. Am I going to come on here on tomorrow's show and complain if the Canadians got him? No, that's not what I'm saying. My point is just that I think they have other issues that are a little more pressing, and getting another centerman with playoff experience that has, it's very good hands, is a good offensive player. obviously you're never going to sneeze at that. But if all the players that we just talked about, the Michael McCarron's got a second, and Jason Dickinson and Colton Dock got a first, I know it's in 2027. It's 2 years down the line. By the time that player gets to the NHL, Tsalikis, you might. I was going to say you might be in diapers, but whatever the case may be, it might be a while, right? So I don't know. It's just, what is it going to cost to get Trocheck? If that's the cost for depth guys, what's it going to cost to go get a Trocheck? Are the Rangers willing to take a reduced price because there's that term left on the deal and they want to get rid of it? Maybe that's what it is. I guess I'll have to see what the return is. It's just there's 3 years left on this guy's term. You know what I mean? And you already going into next year, you already have all of those older guys, like you said, that are there for one more year, but that are still there.
But if you take away Dano from the equation just because of tenure, right? It's not a bad world to live in for the next few years, Joey, if you're going Suzuki, Trocheck, Kapanen, and Evans.
But Simon, he's an undersized guy that's going into his mid-30s. That's all I'm saying. I don't think that,
that's a good center. That's a good foursome.
Sure.
And you're also blessed to have a 40-goal guy. You're also blessed to have the guy that has the profile of being one of the better power forwards in hockey. And I believe you have a young Russian kid that can get you probably is a couple of years away, maybe a year or two away from being a point-a-game player. So I get what you're saying about the middle, but you are blessed when it comes to at least your top.
Yeah, sure. And he's having a good, 39 points in 46 games, nothing to sneeze at. He's got 4 straight 20-goal seasons. 3 seasons ago, you're talking about a guy who had 77 points, he had 64, 77, 59, 51, so this is a good player. There's no question about it. It's just, and again, in the playoffs, we talked about the numbers, Simon, 37 points, 17 goals in 56 games. It's nothing to sneeze at. No, it's nothing to sneeze at all.
Responsible, too, in his own end. It's not like he's out there running around just pushing off. You can throw him out there for some decent assignments as well.
Yeah. No, if you look at the postseason in 24, the Rangers got to. I want to say that the Rangers got to the third round, I think. And you're talking about a guy with 20 points in 16 games in the playoffs. So there's a playoff performer. There's no doubt about it. Maybe he could swing a series. Yeah, the more I talk about it, the more I'm convincing myself of it. It's just there is a lot of term left on that deal, and I don't think you can pay top assets for that deal. Would I give a late first for this dude?
Yes.
Probably, yeah. But would I get into the part, would I get in there and be like, hey, I got to give a first and I got to give this and I got to give that? Especially if you start touching NHL bodies, young NHL bodies.
Yes.
I'm not giving, I'm not giving Kapanen in a deal with a first for this. No. I'm not there. You want a first and Jake Evans? Okay. Sure, we can talk about that. There's no problem.
First in David Reinbacher.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That.
I'd be interested in that.
I'm not doing that. So, you want a first? You want to do a 2026 first? Okay, sure. We could talk. It's a guy, again, point-a-game player just a couple of years ago in the playoffs. I have no problem with him. I like the player. But the term there, you're going to have to give me a discount on the term for me to take because of the term, I should say, to take this guy. You're going to have to give me a discount.
You just need to shave $1 million off, Joe, because that type of player, those numbers in free agency are going to get somebody $4.5, $5 million, right?
Oh, I think they'll get more than that now.
Well, at that age and everything,
Yeah.
If he hits the open market.
It's like a 7-year, $40 million deal that this guy signed. And he's in year 4 of this deal. So
he was a bit younger when he signed it, though, right?
Yeah, but the cap has shot up since then. So, a guy, to me, a 39-point and 46-game guy, you prorate that over a full season, I'd like to say you're flirting with 70 points.
Not bad.
It's not bad. It's not terrible. So he's a really, really good player. It's just, that the term makes me nervous. I don't want the last 2 years of this deal to be – because this team is not win now at all cost mode, because I think this is a team that's going to be competitive for a long time. With that being said, it's the NHL. And
I'm not getting into – I think we spend way too much time worrying about what the back end of a deal is going to look. The first 2 years are a lot more important than – the last 2 years. If the last 2 years are bad, then you're cooked. The first 2 years are good, then your last 2 years are bad, kind of a trade-off. But that you can probably get out of that deal. The same way Columbus strapped a second-round pick to Patrick Laine and moved him along with a year and a half left on his deal, or 2 years left. 2 years left on his deal because we got him in the offseason. You can pull something like that off. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to punish yourself by doing that. This is a life lesson. Don't think about what's going to happen in 4 years from now.
Yeah.
Don't.
Is that my real estate agent talking, or is that the hockey radio
coach
guy talking?
That's your life coach talking.
Okay.
Don't over worry about what's going to happen in year 4. You want to worry about for me, perfect example, Joey, how I got this one right. Last year I was not concerned about year 2, 3, 4 left with Nazem Kadri. This year, okay, and last year when he was popping 35 goals and knocking people over and was looking like a beast out there, I was like, who cares, man? The next 2 years are going to be great. The last 2 years, you drop him on a third or fourth line, and the last year you bury him, you buy him out, you do something. I think that's a little bit of a better philosophy. Now, if it's a 6-7 year deal or whatever, yes. But on a 3-year deal, I wouldn't worry about
3 left. Yeah, there's 3 left.
Okay, but let's say
this year and 3 more.
Yeah, let's say he brings good hockey this offseason. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this postseason, let's just good hockey, not great, good hockey. Doesn't disappoint you. Then you got to figure out 3 years. I don't think it's going to be that terribly bad in 3 years. If you get one good year, one average year, and then drop a second-round pick to get him out of town, let me know what you did in the postseason. I'll tell you if it was worth it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair way of looking at it. Okay, before we go very quickly, I'm going to keep asking you this every time we're on this week until Friday at 3 p.m. Odds that Patrick Laine is not traded, that Patrick Laine is a Montreal Canadian by Friday, 4 p.m.
What did I say yesterday?
We didn't have one yesterday. We had technical difficulties yesterday.
Yeah. So,
the one night before, I don't know, you said 20% or something like that? 15% that he's not traded.
No, there's a 15% chance he'll be
a Montreal Canadian on Friday night.
I think there's an 85% chance he's getting traded. Why can't you ask it like that, like a normal person?
No, because everybody's asking it like that.
It's confusing. 85% chance he will get dealt.
Getting close, Simon.
Listen, I told you.
Just feel somebody would have done it already. I
told you my reasons a couple of days ago, and Ken Hughes is not a guy that's going to be malicious or anything else. Ken Hughes is a guy that's going to say, hey, man, go work out your career, go make some noise, maybe get a little bit lucky in the postseason, and go get yourself a deal. I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to sit there and not – he's a former agent. I don't think he puts himself between a deal. I think he gets it done.
But I don't think he's going to put himself between a deal. I just wonder if they're going to be able to get it done. I wonder if somebody's going to take a shot.
Not one person do it.
Simon, it's even if you eat half, it's half of $8.7 million.
Yeah, I get a lot of money. I hear what you're saying.
For a few months. Yeah. I'm gonna put it at. So you're putting it at 85%. He's gone. 15% he stays.
Yes.
I'm gonna put it at 35% that he's still here on Friday night.
Cool. All right.
I hope I'm wrong for the player's sake, because the player deserves an opportunity. I think he can still contribute to a team. But I hope that it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
But 35. I'll tell you my number tomorrow if it's not.
I agree with you. I just don't think the way he plays the game and the way this team is coached, I don't think there's a fit anywhere.
No, there's 100%. There's not a fit. I'm telling you, I think he deserves a chance to play somewhere else, not a chance to play Montreal. It doesn't fit.
I don't think there's any bad blood.
I don't think there is either.
Ken Hughes is going to give him that opportunity.
But if somebody asks you for rich compensation to take him, are you better off just hang on, be a scratch till the end of the year, and that's it? 1,000%. Sorry, we tried.
Might need a pull in the playoffs, man. Absolutely. No. If it's just something that's obscene, then no. Then Ken Hughes has to have the best interests of the Canadians at heart and say, no, listen, I'd rather hold on to this guy. And if he never plays for me again and he hates me, that's fine. But I might need to plug this guy in a game 3 or 4 of a playoff series looking for a goal.
So let's just behave yourself.
All right.
This is it for the Sports Step podcast for today. You can find us on YouTube. You can subscribe, leave a nice comment. Say something nice about Simon's hoodie, his microphone, and all that stuff. Is the Chicago Bears helmet in the background? Yeah, that side. Yeah. Leave us a nice comment. Leave us a nice rating. You can also find the audio version if you're in your car. You don't want to stream. You want to just listen to it. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify as well. Thank you to producer Sam. for being back and for pushing the right buttons. Sam, no Olympic hangover. I like that. I like that there's no Olympic hangover. Elite level. Although there was some technical issues yesterday that maybe were his fault. So maybe there is an Olympic hangover. Anyways, Tsalikis, behave yourself. Everybody else, take it easy. Enjoy this entire day. Hopefully there's a billion trades to talk about going into tomorrow and to Friday's trade deadline. And hopefully we can all break them down for you right here on the Sports Depth Podcast. Peace out.